Have you ever been gaming or working online classes and your internet service constantly gets interrupted? First Nations Fiber is about to ensure that just won't happen again. Get ready for high speed at a new level. Click on fnfiber.com and sign up today. First Nations Fiber, empowering people through connectivity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beading Table with your host, Tekaronhiakhwa Stand-Up, and myself, Leith and Tekaronhiakhwa, coming from the beautiful area of Kahnawake on the shores of the mighty St. Lawrence. So, Tekaronhiakhwa, how are things? We have unfortunately missed July's episode, so this is episode number 6, Yayak. Episode Yayak.
Yes, of season 2.
Wow.
That's cool.
Know. Yeah, so there's a lot of things we have to talk about, a lot of questions that thankfully our listeners and our audience have posed for us. So do you want to get into maybe just a run through of what's happened over the last month and a bit, or do you want to go straight into questions? It's really your choice.
I don't care. We can do a quick recap of how life is.
Oh my God, busy, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's the end of our podcast. That's our lives. Creative busyness, I think. I think really to sum it up in terms of like what happened since we were on the podcast is a lot of creative busyness and really just ironing out the things that we need to do to survive financially and also just, I guess, maybe mentally a little bit. So, so we had the powwow. The last time we actually recorded was, I think, the week before the powwow.
Yep.
And so here we are a whole month later, or no, actually, was it?
Almost. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And so we had the powwow. It seems like it was a blip and now it's gone. It seems like there's a frenzy around it and then it's all gone.
And then it's all gone. Like end of summer. So that's how it feels. It's
exactly
crazy. Yeah. And that's been pretty much it. Nothing really new. Just I finished a lot of crap that needed to be finished. Praise the Lord.
I know you were posting on your Instagram the items that you have.
Oh God, that's like my collection of unfinished.
Some of them are really nice
pieces. Yeah.
And I don't know why you don't finish them. I mean, they're all really nice. I mean, I don't want people to think like, oh my God, she thinks that some of them are scrap. No, it's not that. It's just
some are more
Some are, but you can see too, though, like I've seen some of those before at the shop and then of course you don't bring them back around and I forget about everything. So, but it's interesting to see like where you are or where you were at the time in terms of like even the colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm just, I noticed I was like, I don't know what my deal is. I just have not been able to really finish things. Some of those things, actually all of those things are, I think only 1 or 2 of them are spoken for. Oh no, sorry. There's a few. Yeah, there's more than 2. But yeah, a lot of them had to be finished for, they were gifts that were supposed to be gifted a long time ago and things like that. But yeah, I'm just trying to get some of them done. I'm trying to do the craft fair in September. It's already August, so I already feel like I'm drowning because I have one thing fully beaded, but not even completed. So yeah, so I'm starting to feel the pressure. Plus I have orders from another place that I have to fulfill. This is the end of the order. It was like a sequence kind of thing, like a 2-year. So I just have to finish that, but it's still a lot. And then I took on a new project.
Get out!
Yeah, but I don't know if I
can talk about it.
Yeah. Like, so, but anyways, I have 6 items to make.
Awesome.
So I have to do that. Thankfully, there is no timeline on that though.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, and they gave me, it's pretty simple actually. Like I have something to follow. They're all the same and it's not too much. There's not really that much color on it. There's literally like 2 colors or 1 color. I think I have to reread it. Anyways, I think there's only 1 color per item.
Okay.
So I can just stick with that and it's the background that changes, like the coloring. So I'm actually excited to do that one just because it's different too. There's a lot more, I think, flat work that's going to have to be put onto it because it's an image that I have to follow. So yeah, so once I think that's only going to really end up starting only like in January. Because there's other things that I want to fulfill before I start that project or whatever and try to get a lot of those things off my table. Like,
especially before the craft fair.
Yeah. I have like a lot of smaller things. Like I'd like to do like almost like ornaments. Sounds crazy, but like we're already getting there.
Well, yeah, it is. It's December already. I mean,
yeah, basically. So I like I'm starting a lot of those kind of things. So at the craft fair, that's what I'm hoping to have, like a few of those, maybe moccasins, like kid sizes and stuff like that. And what's it called? Medallions. So
Well, that's good. Everyone likes those.
yeah, and I'm trying to give like a balance. So I'm trying to do some in the new stuff that I'm doing with the tie-dye and some the old fashioned, because the tie-dye may not be for everybody, which is fine. So I'm trying to give like some options too. So hopefully I'll get that going. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the beading life. Yeah. And you?
Oh my goodness. I am knee deep. I was going to say something else, but I was like, no. I'm knee deep in getting ready for Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
And also, and now I can officially say, my move to Oneida for my Indigenous Artist in Residence at the University of Western Ontario.
Lovely.
So I'm getting ready for that. I mean, well, I'm prepping my mind for that transition, but really I'm just trying to finish a piece a day for Santa Fe. Hey, watch Leith finish a piece a day for Santa Fe on Instagram, Leith and Tekaronhiakhwa. Yeah, that's my handle. So that's what I'm doing. And I have tons of pieces that I've started. I don't want to say tons, that sounds like a lot. Really, maybe about a good 15 pieces that I've started. So I have finished 3 so far. I'll be done another one today, which is day 4, because today is August 4th. So I'm trying to get 1 a day in August done before I leave and I fly out on the 14th. So
I should be that damn like disciplined. I need to do that.
It's so crazy because my brother always sends me, like when you talk about discipline, he always sends me these every morning, every day on Instagram. He sends me these videos. Shout out Lanho Goodleaf. And it's always these motivational things. And he's a runner and he likes to do that kind of stuff. And that's one of the ones he sent. I think it was Kobe Bryant talking about discipline or something. But yeah, so today I was like, yeah. And then I wrote back to him like, yeah, I'm in the shop right now. And it's like not even 7 o'clock, you know, like getting in there and
like
trying
inspiring me. No, I want to go home and bead. That's all I'm done.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what my routine is. I think really for Santa Fe is that's the kind of schedule I keep, is where I'm like almost manic, and it's not in a good way really, but that's how it shows itself. And so, so I'm trying to do that, and I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do a big piece. There's a piece I already started and I'm adding it to the, like, it's crazy because some things I'm just starting brand new things, which is really stupid when you think about it. Like I have 11 days and I'm going to start something new. But anyway, so I have this piece that I'm going to try to incorporate into something else. And I got it all ready. I made the design. I prepped everything I needed to do. And when I went and I did a stupid thing, I went to go and start beading, and I didn't realize that half of the leather on one side is thicker than the other half. And it's wicked hard to go through that leather
on the other side,
and it's hand high, but I didn't realize when I was doing it, like I just like the color of the piece, right? So this is like for people out there who are using, well, in my case, I'm doing non-commercial hide. You still have to make sure that your needle can go through, like even though it's done in a really good way usually, it's just thicker, this piece. And so now I'm kind of teetering on one. I always usually take a photocopy of my design. This time I didn't. And I put it right onto the piece. So I thankfully yesterday, because last night I was like, what am I going to do? I said, let me just start doing this at midnight. Let me just start beading at midnight, this thing. And so that's when I figured out that the leather was too thick. So I only have like maybe 5 stems on there drawn, are already beaded. So I'm thinking maybe I can photocopy it now and then redo it on another piece. But I've already done all of the measurements and everything is set. And I'm just like, do I just keep going, or do I concede and do it on another piece? That's where I'm at right now. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to finish the baby moccasins because, you know, I love to procrastinate.
Well, at least you're doing something else. You're being productive elsewhere.
Yeah. So I have a pair of baby moccasins to do. I have a pin that actually is at the shop right now that I was doing this morning. I was going to finish today. So that'll be my finished piece. Baby moccasins and a finished pin will be today. So I'll get 2 pieces done, hopefully. And then tomorrow and the weekend, maybe really look at this other piece and see. And I really want to do a pair of moccasins, like a real adult's pair, because that's what I really like to do there. So I'm going to try to fit that in and outside, like, you know, all the other stuff, and, you know, just back to school shopping for the kids next week, maybe. Because I'm leaving you got to be. I have to do that. I mean, when I found out that I got the position in April, I think it was April or May, I thought, oh yeah, you know, August I'll have lots of time to do. No, it just doesn't happen that way. And so now I'm just running the gas tank empty, but in a good way. Like, I mean, in a way that I don't feel like miserable. I hope my husband doesn't think I'm miserable, and I'm taking him to Santa Fe. So that'd be good. Like, so it'd be a chance for him to recuperate before he starts his work and everything. So that's like a busy time, but yeah, life is just keep on going, keep on trucking.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that start back. I am not one of the parents that's like, yay, school. I love having my kids home. I would rather them be home all the time, like kind of thing. I hate it. Like I hate going back to school. I don't know. So I'm like, we gotta start back and get all that crap going and routine. The routine is nice though sometimes. Like it's nice to get back into that. But yeah, we've been just kind of like freelance all summer. Like they're teenagers now. Everyone just does their own thing and whatever. So yeah.
And the back to school thing for me, for my 15-year-old, I feel kind of bad because he's trained so hard this summer every day, like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, depending on what, sometimes 6 o'clock. And now they're back in the gym at 7 on some days and on the water at 8 the other day. So every day he trains, right? Twice a day. So I'm thinking like, man, I told him, I said, next week, you can sleep in. Well, he can't because he's still got to train next week because even though his summer work is done, he has this weekend. This will be the first weekend he'll sleep in 2 days since
last year,
since he finished school. Yeah. And so I just feel like, and he's like, I'm tired, but he goes and he's dedicated. Again, it speaks to that dedication and commitment to what his goals are. But I just feel like, man, like I wish you could sleep more, but whatever. I mean, that's life, right? We can't always get what we want. So
yeah. And he's going with it.
Yeah. So
alrighty. So we both have a book of questions. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I will start with my own question.
Okay.
Actually, no, we already talked about that. Everything that I wanted to talk about, we already talked about. So one of the first questions that I took from our Instagram page is, and this is something that someone wrote in and they said, can you kindly keep me anonymous? So this is for you, Anonymous. Do you feel like your relationship to beadwork shifts when you begin to depend on it as a financial income?
Yes, sometimes. There are times where it becomes a love-hate type of thing because it becomes a job and it's no longer like that creative outlet kind of thing. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's worse when there's restrictions on it.
I know that's what I was wondering about when you said that this is the order I have and it's this thing. I want to see what it happens. Like I want to see, because you're not used to having restrictions. You kind of make your...
I just do I've been doing, that's why I stopped taking orders because I was always on restrictions. That's why I stopped doing it because it's like, it kills the whole creative flow to everything. And then you don't like doing it anymore. And I don't like feeling like that where I don't want to do it, you know? So yes. So when you do it full time, you have to find a balance. You definitely have to find a balance when it's your job, basically. Like for me, that's why I have like that's probably why I have like 8,000 pieces sitting on my table right now, because I need that other outlet somewhere. Yeah. You need that one that's the drive, the focus, it's the pay, but then I need something else on the side.
It keeps you alive.
Yeah, because otherwise it's stagnant. It's the same thing over and over. You get sick of the same colors. I know I'm not the only one, but I have this issue where I will work on a piece for so long that in the end, like I could have been so excited, and when all the colors get on it, I love it and it's so great. And then by the end, I'm like, I hate this. Yeah, like get it out of here now. Yeah. Because you've looked at it for, however long. So yeah, definitely it can change your relationship towards beading. But like I said, it's important to find that balance and to find, that you need a break sometimes. So yeah. And I find you have to kind of make that clear with clients too. And you also have to put that into your own timeline. Because if you have restrictions, like if you have a timeline or a date, like a deadline, you have to kind of keep in mind that, okay, well, I can dilly-dally for now, like here and there, but at some point you can't anymore. So you have to be able to push through and make those deadlines. So you have to know how to manage your time too. So yeah, that's my answer for that one.
I think for me, going to Santa Fe means putting myself out there on a larger market. So yeah, I'm financially beholden, I guess. Not beholden. That's in the back of my mind. But really what Santa Fe gives me is the opportunity to create things that I just want to create myself. And there's like, it's nothing like an order at all. I don't feel like I'm beholden to somebody. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have so many things that I want to do, is because I can do whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about what somebody likes it or not. If it's just something that I want to do and try, and that's how I feel. Yes, I have in the past felt like, oh my God, like this order is killing me, or this is like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I myself have the same thing where I have pieces on the side I do, and I hopefully keep a good timeline. I mean, I've talked about before in the past, like maybe having a late order or something, but I mean, in that regard, it ended up all working out. But I think, yeah, you have to really, you have to kind of love what you do and not go into this new, I guess, I don't want to say financial endeavor, this entrepreneurial kind of endeavor, naively thinking that everything is going to stay the same, because it's not. When you're your own boss, it's great. But then you are responsible for everything, most aspects of what it is that of your business, of your income and all that kind of stuff. And so you really have to maintain, like you said, that healthy balance and really have a good support system and someone you can really like dish to and say like, this really sucks. And, or, you know, I'm doing great. And also have somebody who will listen to your woes, but will really cheer you on.
Get you back going.
And also will be genuinely happy for you when you're having so much success. Because a lot of times sometimes people aren't as receptive to that as they are to, oh, my life sucks, you know, and then they can feel you're like, you know, and that's just kind of, I mean, I hate to say that's how human nature is, but that's really kind of how it is. So, so I think it's just like you said, having a balance, maintaining a support system, and just knowing what it is you're going into and not thinking that everything is going to be just as wonderful as it was when I was doing it in my house just for myself, you know, because it's not necessarily. You got things.
And the reality of it too is that, like, I was just talking about this yesterday with somebody else about how a lot of times people don't see behind the scenes type of thing. So it's like, yes, I post a lot of things about what I'm doing and all of that, but you don't see behind the scenes where I've had to take 2 days break because I feel like I have a hunchback and I have like a claw for a hand now, like, because I'm sore, I'm tired, I've been sitting. I keep thinking of that, the new saying where sitting is the new smoking, and all I'm doing is
look
sitting
at me,
on my ass.
Sitting. Yeah.
So that's how I feel. And even that now, I feel like I have neglected another side of me. Even though this is my creative outlet, I have stopped moving. So I'm trying now, for me right now, I'm trying to refine that balance again, where I'm putting some time in for me to be healthy too, because sitting all day, like bent over, like in reality, that's not healthy at all. So those are other things that you have to think of. Like when you have deadlines, like sometimes that's what you're doing for a week straight. And and it sucks. Sometimes it really does suck, you know? So it's like, you have to really, like, a lot of times, I know when I went into it, you think like, oh, it's going to be great. Like exactly what you said, like, and half of it is, but there's still the downsides of it. You know, there's the financial stability is not always there, because you can make something amazing and beautiful. It doesn't mean anybody's going to buy it, you know, like those kind of things too. Like you have to be realistic about it and have backup plans if you ever take this on as like a job and all that stuff.
It's a learning curve, and some people make it look really easy, but if you've ever been in that road, you know it's hard. It doesn't just come as natural as
behind, like, am I going to be able to pay my next payments for whatever? Am I going to have this month's rent? Am I spending enough time with my family? Am I doing any of these other things? Am I going to have a heart attack in 10 years because I'm sitting here constantly? Like that's where I'm at sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
Know, like I'm like, okay, I got to start moving because I'm not doing anything, you know, like those kind of things, because it consumes your life after a while. Especially for me, like I have the shop, I go from the shop, I go to teaching. When I get home, I'm wiped out. Sometimes I have to bead though. So it's shop, then I'm teaching. Like, and when I say I'm teaching at night, and then I go home, say about 8:30-ish. So at that time, sometimes I have to bead right until the night. That's my days. That's the reality of like how I live, you know? So sometimes I'm like, like you can burn out really quick doing that, you know? And then where do I have time for my family? Where do I have time for, I play softball? Where do I have time for like my parents or anybody, you know? So anyways, kind of went on a tangent on that one, but we have more questions.
So that was the one question. And then there was another question is, how long does it usually take you to do orders? And do you put a time limit on? Tekaronhiakhwa says forever. I think I think it ebbs and flows depending on one, what the order is. I think two, depending on where you just feel like if you feel like you're in a rut or you've been beading a lot and this is just another one on the checklist, then it could feel like it's taking 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Definitely size, amount of beadwork, like that all factors in, you know, like to whatever. Also depends is this your only order? Some people take multiples, you know, and for timeline, yes, like you have to set it. Well, obviously if you have a date, you got to get it done before then. So, kind of like what you're doing, you're in crunch time right now. So there are times where yes, like that's your whole life. It's just your focus kind of thing. When I used to take grad orders, I used to take them months and months and months in advance. So they were due for June. I was starting in September the year before. You know, even earlier, sometimes in August, people have to start bringing me their stuff so that I can do it as I please and that I'm not.
And then you finish when you finish.
When I finish, yeah.
But knowing the timeline is this day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because a lot of times for like, say, those grad orders, I was taking 2 to 3 at a time for full outfits. So I have to start them all way in advance. And also I like to circle around them. So when I get sick of one, to be productive, I'll jump to the other one and then work on that one. When I get tired of that one, I jump to the other one. So to kind of be able to cycle those, I need time. Like I need months to do that. So that even that, if I need a break from all of these, I can set them aside without guilt and then do something else in the meantime, you know. On top of it too, you also have to think if this is your only income,
you want to get that stuff done.
You need to get it done because if those things are sitting there, that's consuming all of your time. You don't have time now to do other things that would generally be bringing in money immediately because though unless like for me, that's how I work. I only take payment at the end. Yeah. Some people are different. Some will take half in advance. Some will take full right away. So it depends on that too, you know, like, I don't know. For me, I take it at the end. So I'm like, I'm poor. I'm working on these things and unless I do something else.
I think that's what some people don't realize is that, you make this beautiful stuff, but you're doing these things for like 3 months and you have no income. I think people don't realize that unless you're working part-time. And then it's that same struggle we were just talking about doing this and doing that and trying to figure everything in and make sure that life has a balance. And so that's one of the things people don't realize. And that's one of the reasons why I applied for this grant is because now, or this position as the artist in residence is because I've never had the opportunity. I've never taken the chance to just say, I'm just going to try and do it and let the wind take me where it does. Thankfully, there's a grant with this also, and I'm going to be able to do this and not have to worry about the financial part of it. And so that's one of the reasons why I did it. But the second part of the question, I didn't write it down, but I just looked on Instagram is, have you ever had someone be really pushy on getting their order done? Yeah. I don't necessarily know if I've ever had somebody be pushy. I know I'm always given a timeline, or I always ask for a time frame. Like, when does this have to be done? Yeah. And as long as I can get it done when they say, then that's fine. I don't think anybody's actually ever said, hey, can you get that done sooner? And if they did, I'd say sorry because
like you gave me a date. Like,
and it's like scheduled in, like I've had things where I had to do wedding outfits and I took orders in between or had orders and I was able to do it because I knew the timeline that I was working with. And so that worked for me. If they needed it earlier, I probably would say, I'll try my best to get it done because, if it's something as important as a wedding or a graduation, then for sure, But no, I don't think I've had anybody be really pushy. I've had people be very upfront and honest in what they wanted. And some people might consider that pushy. We've had conversations about that. But that's just how some clients are. They just know what they want and that's okay. And that's what I know is part of the deal. And it's okay. But some people don't like that. But nah. Well, but that's why they're my clients, I guess, because I'm on the other end with now.
When I ordered that painting from
yes, that's right.
I was that. And I've had that done to me before where it was like people coming back to me like, well, I don't know if I like that. And in full honesty, I was like, son of a bitch, like, shit or get off the pot now, like
pick a color.
I was annoyed. And then I was the person because but then now I got it because if you're investing time, money, all of this into something, you do want it perfect in the way you want it.
Yes. Yeah.
In my case, though, there were changes. Like I said, the whole craziness of it. But I offered to pay him more for the inconvenience because I know what it's like to be an artist and have somebody keep adding or taking away or changing things. And And I didn't want to be like the total monster client on that, you know, like, so I did offer him.
But then you don't want something that you don't like hanging, that you've paid for and that's hanging in your house.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't anything like the concept art. That's all amazing. It was just colors. And it was more my mistake. That's why I asked, I offered, to pay more. I was like, whatever your time that you already put into what you did, I will pay you for that, that kind of thing. So, those are things that I get both sides of it now. Mm-hmm. For me, that's what it was. I've had pushy clients, I guess in that sense more. I can't say because everyone's always given me deadlines. So I can't say I have had people. So here's another scenario where people have said there's no timeline.
And then they give you one.
Well, then they still don't say a timeline, but then they keep asking, where is it? When is it being done? And whatever. But
you said you didn't need it right away.
Yeah.
Which is
So for me, don't tell me one thing because
it's already set.
Yes, because in my mind, it's on the back burner. Until you write to say, okay, I need it for this date, or until I'm sick of feeling guilty that it's still sitting there. So you have to tell me, because otherwise it's not going to get done on a timely manner, that kind of thing. So that's the reality of that one. Because I have multiple things. I have a million items that have to be done a lot of the times. Some are for work, some are for gifts, some are for other things. So a lot of times I don't, if I work better with a timeline, because really, if people tell me, there's no timeline, sometimes it does sit on the back burner. But at some point though, for me or for everybody, I guess you should, even without the restriction, you should kind of put a timeline on your thing, which I'm working on now. To say, okay, by this time, I want to get that off my conscience now. Really, that's what it is for me. So that's that.
That was their question. And then she also, I don't know if it's a woman or I just made the mistake. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So they also asked if any other artists ran into animal rights activists. And they say, I had some recent troll a lot of my hide tanning and fishing posts.
To each their own, and live and let live is my answer to that. It's hard. I understand what they stand for in protecting and things like that. Mm-hmm. But there's the other side to what we were talking about earlier. We do have traditional and cultural practices that we don't stop because somebody else doesn't like it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We do have our own beliefs about those things too. People who follow those things traditionally too, like say you're hunting and things like that. I was always taught when you hunt, you burn tobacco, you put tobacco down for that animal that you are taking its life. Mm-hmm. You give thanks, you don't waste. So when we're doing it, we're trying to do it in the most respectful way possible. So, it's a tricky, hard kind of thing, but we do try to do it with the utmost respect for that animal. So, it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but.
And I'm just thinking I know I use deer hide,
Everybody does.
Everyone, whether there's commercial, there's non-commercial, there's smoke, there's not smoke, all this stuff, and I think that's one of the things that I tried to do is, I'm not saying anything that I'm better than anybody else because I'm using deer hide or this stuff, or I'm not saying that, I'm all for whatever the activists say or whatever. I'm not reading into a dogma or anything like that too. But I'm also just trying to live a good way. So I don't know. It depends really. I don't know. It's a really interesting thing. I've never had anybody come for me, troll me. I'm not on my Facebook or anywhere or Instagram or anything like that. And I don't know what I would do if I was put in that situation. My instinct was to say some very bad words when I read that, well, who cares and all this stuff. But yeah, like you said, that's what they believe in. And sometimes rightfully so. Some people are doing horrible and horrendous things, but not everybody is that way.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to see research who you're trolling and what it is that they're doing that is.
What are their practices?
Yeah, that kind of stuff,
Yeah, because I'm not into that. To me, it's that whole
cancel culture and all that kind of jazz.
Live and let live, piss off and leave me alone. Unless you actually sit down with me and talk to me and I'm out there shooting 20 deers for nothing and whatever, then
I'm throwing the hides on the road or something like that.
Other than that, shut the hell up and leave people alone. I don't like that when people push and preach and push their shit on everybody else. Like, that's not cool to me. I don't like it. Like I said, I understand what they're there for, what they fight for. And I do agree with a lot of that when it's warranted, when it's people that are doing, you know, like the labs and they're testing on animals. And like, I have like a zoo in my house. Like, I love animals. We take care of them, all of that. But yeah, do your research before you start like attacking people. Yeah. And yeah, I don't like that. Anyways, that's my knee-jerk reaction.
And I just scrolled the person's page because I thought, let me check and see what they're doing. They're doing like real tanning highs. They're not, you know.
Yeah, which is
and
we can
a beautiful
clarify.
Art practice, you know, like,
and it's better for the environment because you're leaving less of a footprint where you're not putting toxins into the earth and into what you're using, kind of thing. But yeah, I get it, like, because they're hunting an animal. So
but people got to eat meat too. I like.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's our 2 cents. And don't forget, at the end of our podcast, you'll hear the thoughts or ideas that do not reflect this of the people producing us. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's our thoughts. If you have different thoughts, then have them. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Did you want to bring in the next question? Because I've been leading the questions. So yeah.
Yeah. Some of these ones are just like little ones, so we could do those fast ones. So, and this was a funny question. So not funny, but I can relate. Never having the right shade when starting a new project, even when you have a million beads. Does this happen to anyone else?
Of course, I think it happens to everybody. I have a bead store and there's not a lot of, well, actually, I sell beads with the help of Tekaronhiakhwa at Traditions in Kahnawake. And I still have a hard time doing it, finding the colors. Yeah. It's just...
I am like a bead hoarder. So I have like multiple colors. I mean, I have like multiple shades of the same color.
Yeah.
Like I have a million greens at my house.
But you have to have variety.
And I still go to like grab it. And I don't know if other people work this way, but like, and it's going to sound super hokey pokey, but I don't give a shit because that's really how it is. When I pick a color, I have a feeling. And if it's like, I'm like, if I grab it and I look at it and it doesn't tickle my heart, then I ain't going with it.
If it doesn't bring you joy, Mary Kondo says, kick it out.
But that's how it works. Like, it's like a weird internal feeling. So when I pick it, if I don't feel that, it's not the right color. And half the damn time, I don't have the shade in my house. Then I got to go to the store, or then I got to hit you up, or then I got to put it all over Facebook. Does anyone have this shade? Like, it's a specific color. Yeah. So for me, I get it. Like, we always joke too. People always come into the store and say like, I shouldn't be buying beads, but I need that one other shade. And I'm like, you always need more beads.
Yeah, you always need more beads. Yes.
A different color. Sometimes it's the finish, it's the tone. Sometimes the finish on it has multiple colors in the finish, like the iridescent, you know, and even the iridescent has different iridescent.
Sometimes it's like more like a rainbow. Sometimes it's just like
sometimes
a silver,
it's just green and
just
pink. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Always buy beads.
Buy beads. Wherever you like to buy beads, there's many places to buy them. Okay, what's the next question?
So this one. Okay, this is a good one.
Oh God.
Yeah, we're going to probably go a little bit more into this one.
Okay, go for it. I'm ready. I'm prepped.
Okay. Production costs. So the person was asking me about a breakdown of, and it wasn't her in general. Like she has heard this before. She is a seamstress, so she understands production costs and what it costs to create an item and then to try to sell it, and people complain about the price. So that's what she said. Can you talk about that and clarify or put that out there? Production costs. She wrote, people questioning costs of items like, why are moccasins so much? Like, why are baby and adults? Like, what are the price differences? Why are they that much and all of that? And then what are the breakdowns? So when I was talking with her, I had wrote, first of all, what's hard is that anybody can charge whatever they like. So that's one area. So everybody's prices can vary. Yeah. And that's to each their own. Anybody can ask what they want for them. To me,
I just got heavy in my body because I'm just thinking about like after you said that, and then I was like, okay, what am I going to say? Processing the question. What is it? I don't know. Do I even know? But go ahead. Go about who's just
when I heard the question, and I know it wasn't coming from her, it's coming from like just in general, like probably a lot of people have had this a lot of the times when you go somewhere and people ask,
People come into the store and we talk about all the time. I mean, people like all the time. Yeah.
Like, why does it cost that much? Or like you get that shitty reaction and all that. And
you know what is so crazy? I'm going to say, what I'm going to say is you probably have the wrong people buying your stuff.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but that's the truth, because you know what? Those people who want it will buy it.
Yes.
And you shouldn't be wasting you shouldn't have to waste your time. And I get the opposite side of the question, or the opposite of what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say it because I think it's important too. You shouldn't have to waste your time trying to defend what it is you put, whether it's hours or you've invested years in perfecting your craft, or even if you just picked it up last week and you think this is what it is, you don't necessarily have to put stock in what people think of what your item cost is.
Yep.
Now, if you're making them to sell, of course, you're going to take stock into what people say. But really, there's a market for everybody. If you want to charge $100 for your moccasins, one, I probably think $100 is way too low. You're undercharging yourself. So don't even start there. You got to start higher, even if you're a beginner, because even the materials you're going to use to produce those things, you got to buy a hide. It might be $60. I don't even know how much it is now, really. Or $100, $200.
No. And so here's the breakdown a little bit. Like,
okay. You did a breakdown.
No, but I'm just saying hide. So you want to talk about hides and things like that. So commercial processed hides, still for a good hide that has no tick marks, because a lot of them come with tick marks or scratches, scrapes, all of those things, and big enough to make moccasins, is still running you between $80 to $100 or more, depending how big it is. And that's the processed stuff.
Yeah.
So now if you go into the higher, more better quality things, where what we were talking about, smoked hide and all that, you're talking $500, $600, sometimes $500 to $1,000 for a really good large piece of hide, depending, sometimes it varies, but that's where it can go. You know what I mean? So it's like right there, you're already spending that much money on just the hide.
Now, take into perspective the people who are listening. You're not going to charge your first moccasin based on everything that it costs to produce, but you do have to take into account how many other pieces you're going to make from that hide, and maybe like that kind of thing.
Divide it kind of thing, yeah.
In the reality of this whole idea of production costs, I don't keep track of that kind of stuff. I really don't. I don't think I ever did. I kind of just went by what I saw other people charging in the beginning, and then charged probably less because I wasn't as good as them, and that's how I did it. Really, I really did compare myself to other people. Like we started with those Sioux moccasins that Stam Merritt taught us how to do. Probably the whole town took the class. And so I sold a pair, or maybe I sold 2 pairs, I think. And I asked her what she charged, and I charged less because she was the expert and she had really quality work. And it was a lot different than my little German thing, So that's how I gauged my first pair. And then I made another pair as a gift. And then I started to do the Iroquois style moccasin. And then I asked my friends, and people were saying, this is how much I charge. And then as I got better and got better, I started charging more. And I'm going to be honest with everybody here. I've sold a pair of moccasins for $3,500. Okay. So now, would I sell just any pair of moccasins for $3,500? No. Have I sold another pair for $3,500? No. Will I this year? Probably not. Probably not even next year. It depends on the market. If they won ribbons. And when I say I sold them at a market at Santa Fe. And so, but I don't sell for less than $800. So that gives you an idea of where it is. So that's kind of how it looks. So, I mean, it depends on how many years experience, what kind of materials are you using? If you're using, like you said, like tanned hide or commercial hide, the beads, if you're using and hard to find beads, smaller beads takes longer time than big beads. So you got to take that into account. And then the cost.
The cost of beads are a lot. It's a lot, yeah. For everything. So yeah, to me, on top of it too, like, there was something that was said before. It was like, yes, you're charging this price for the amount of hours that you worked on it, and I know you can. Well, you can, but it's kind of like, it took me years to be able to get to this level of construction. You know what I mean? And I'm always learning. You're still always learning. For me right now, I just upped the price of my moccasins.
Which is excellent, because you were undercharging yourself.
And now the quality of them is a lot better, because now I am doing a lot. The process is different. You
tweaked your design.
I've tweaked the design. I'm adding more. There's more to the construction, not even the beadwork. I'm not changing changing. That's not what changed. The whole construction of the structure itself has changed. It is a lot more labor intensive. There's a lot more materials that are involved. The time to do it is a lot longer. So I always look at it too, like when I give classes, I teach people how to make moccasins all the time, and I teach them basic. I don't teach all of my, sorry people.
No,
I don't teach.
You
all
don't
my
teach
secrets.
your tricks. Why? No, and why would you?
Yeah,
let somebody else make. I mean, everyone. Yes, that's what one of the things people was talking about the copyright, sharing and sharing your gifts. Yes, for sure. If you have if you know how to share, but it's also giving that person the opportunity to learn and make their own tricks and make their things better. And
that's exactly
instead of starting right from Margaret stand-up's 10 years of experience and getting everything. Yeah, it's a learning process.
I was just talking about this yesterday about how, like years before it was like we had to struggle to learn kind of, and it's not that I'm trying to make anyone else struggle or suffer or anything in their learning process. I give you your basic tools. I will help you along the way, but I also allow people to learn at their own pace. I also allow people to learn their own tricks, their own styles, figure out your own stuff. Because if I continue to teach people the way I do it, everybody's stuff is going to look exactly like mine, which I think I'm doing a disservice in some ways because everybody's stuff should look like their own. There should be an individuality to everybody's work. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's some boundaries to that, like when I do teach. So, but when I do it, people who have taken the classes for the first time are seeing how labor intensive it is. You know what I mean? Like I'll give one class and they're there maybe, I want to say 6 to 8 hours and they get one done. Some don't even finish one side. And I'm not talking 2 moccasins. I'm talking one side. That's just the leather part. That's with guidance. That's with somebody else's pattern. That's with minimal materials because I'm teaching you the basics. That's one day to get one side. And now when you want to go and do it yourself, you now have to learn how to do the patterns. You have to learn how to do the measurements. There's a lot of shit that's involved with making, especially like moccasins, for example, because I find that's probably one of the more labor intensive type of product, that we do. So yeah, like there are a lot of factors into making moccasins. And sometimes, yes, you can do it by hours. Sometimes you can't. Some people are faster than the others. And sometimes you're going to shortchange yourself. You can kind of keep it in, but sometimes that doesn't always factor in.
And sometimes you just let things slide. Like a lot of times I'm just like, here you go. Like this is what it'll be. Whatever. It is what it is. And it's probably worth more than I'm selling it to you, but it doesn't matter. Like take it. It's like,
Well, I kind of like, my back goes up when I hear that. I've had customers come in and complain about prices. And of course, I have to be professional and nice.
About your stuff or about things you see in the store or in general?
Yeah, in general, like people who want to buy it, but I've had people try to barter with me, like where it's items in the store, but I'm like, that's
not even my stuff I'm making. I can't give it. Yeah.
So to me, and
it's like you're going to go to like the UGG store and say, hey, can I get those UGGs for this much money instead of that?
50 instead of 100. Like
you're going into Chanel to get a Chanel bag.
Yeah.
Or Michael Kors, and saying, that bag is $500. I'll give you $350. Yeah. Really? Come on now. Like, get off it.
Yeah. And
for a handmade thing.
Bugs me. And to me, a lot of the times where it bugs me is when it's people who don't bead, I guess, or don't have an understanding for it, but could place judgment on something or don't have the appreciation. That's when it bugs me because I'm like, before you come and complain about a price or about whatever, try doing it first. Do it yourself and then see if you're going to be complaining about that price. Because once your hands are all beat up and you're tired and whatever, then you might start having an appreciation for the actual work that's being put into it. So that's kind of what like gets my back up a little bit when it's, and that's usually where it comes from, unfortunately, like people who may not have an idea of like the gist of it all. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was that.
I don't know if you would answer the question. Production. Well, keep them in mind. And just keep the production part in mind. And you charge what it is you think they're worth. And like we said before, if you find out that it's not selling and you need them to sell, then you lower your price. But don't lowball yourself in the beginning. And also be realistic with your pricing. But make sure that you know that there's always room to increase there's always room to increase your price as you experience and do more things. Like that's the whole idea, right? Like, like the same thing if you're in a job, the more professional development you do, or the longer years that you've been at the company, you get a raise. You do the same thing for yourself. Don't keep selling your stuff for the same price as you did in the 2000. Like it's 23 years ago, raised your price.
So yeah, that's like to really go down through a breakdown and all that. It's hard. Like you can do the breakdown, but like you said, like you're buying things in bulk. Like if I buy a bead, I do factor in that, yes, I paid $15 for it, but yes, sometimes I'm putting a sprinkle on it.
Yep.
I'm still out that cost.
Yep.
$500-$600 for a hide. Yes, you'd still be out that cost. I'm not going to charge you like for the full hide because you're not getting the full hide, but some of that has to go into that cost. And then your time, your effort, your experience sometimes, like, and although that's hard too, because everybody's in different places, no matter if they just started or if they've been beading for 50 years or whatever, like everyone's work is different, so.
And I think that's why it's really good to communicate with other people within that art form. And because there are some people who, like we said, I think it was the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, people who just started are like, excellent, awesome. And it took us a couple of years to even, or maybe 5 years to get to the precision of somebody else who just started maybe 2 years ago. That person shouldn't be selling as if they just started and, like it's a different cost. They should be selling. And that's where you have your communication with fellow artists. What is the quality? Compare other things that are on the market and ask and be truthful. And most people will say, like, don't undercharge yourself. You should charge this or you should charge that. And sometimes people have a hard time asking for what it's worth. I think we are very honest with people who come in and say, you know what, charge what you want, but you really should be charging this because your work is good. So, I would never tell somebody to charge less. I always tell them to charge more and see where it is.
Alrighty, so we will move on. I feel like this is going to be a long one today. Nah.
No, I have 25 more minutes.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know.
Keep going. We're going.
Okay. So designing, where do you get your inspiration just for the design?
As I put my hands up to Mother Earth. No. Yeah, actually probably Mother Earth, just because a lot of my stuff is floral.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I have a specific thing, but I think colors, I guess. I mean, it was fun. It was interesting because I had a client one time and I laughed about it, but it really is true. As crazy as I laughed about it before, just because I was just like, oh my God. She said, I want all the colors that are in that forest over there. And I was like, what? And you know what? She was right. And right in the sense that, you know what? Yeah, you can have all the colors that are in that forest on your piece in a varying different shades of gray and green and brown and all that stuff, or even yellow. So like I laughed because I was like, I went in my mind, I was like, what? She wants what that looks like out there? Like, really? And thankfully, I mean, I don't know if I pulled it off entirely to what extent she wanted. I guess she did because she liked her stuff, but now I see it in a different way. And so, yeah, that's one of the things. I think it's like you're only limited to your own bird cage kind of thing. And
yeah. So that's kind of where that question was kind of in the realm. So it's basically coming from like when you're stuck with, when you do you.
Yes.
And you are tired of you. Where do you go, basically?
When I'm tired of you, where do I go? I don't go anywhere out. I don't go anywhere.
And that's the question, like, because I felt that before, where it's like when you look at your stuff, like say I'm looking at my stuff and I know that like I don't know if it's a rut or if it's just because that's what you do, or like that's how I do things all the time, like the same flower, or I do the same, like when you feel like you've outrun that now, where it's kind of like, oh, I want to do something different. But then it's that transition thing that it's when you're in no man's land because you're sick of the old shit that you've been doing all the time, constantly, and you're tired, you want to do it, but you don't know what to do, where to go, like you don't have a direction anymore. So for me, that's, I guess, kind of goes into that question too, like where do you get the inspiration for new to kind of like,
I think, okay, so I just did this morning, actually. I just realized I was talking earlier about how I wanted to do a pair of moccasins and do that. And the last time I did a really kick-ass pair of moccasins, I did it on black velveteen. I always do black velveteen because I love it. It's classic. That is my go-to standard. Black and white. I like that kind of stuff. So I was like, I can't do black again. Like, come on, Leith, like just pick something else. Because if I do black, it's going to run in the exact same tones as the last pair because that's where I live.
Yeah.
So I picked a different kind of velvet. So I think a lot of times, and even these little pair of baby moccasins I'm doing, this newest pair, it has a green bias. I picked the green bias because I don't do green bias. And so that's where the challenge comes in. When I feel like I'm in a rut, I pick something that is completely out of my, and it could be either velvet, it could be some of the beads I choose. Like I'm making a pin that looks like Barbie pink on the back. Before I even knew Barbie movie was coming out, I had started this. And so it was just the pink that added a little different flair. So I picked that. So I think that's where I find inspiration, is picking something that's really out of my
comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Design. Did I answer that question? I don't know. I
don't think you did.
No, I didn't. So for the designing part, like the drawing and all of that, the drawing of it all is you
have to make new flowers.
Yeah.
That's a part of it too.
Well, you know what? And
I like my leaves. I don't know. I got to change up. Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry. There's something I want to do.
I bought all Jessica's flowers.
Oh,
so
yes.
Shout out to Nisia's accessories. She had
accessories.
Whatever. Accessories. What did I say? Accessories. Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Making up new words.
I'm English.
Oh my
God. Here we are. Sorry about whoever is
we're gonna
listening from Terhassagage or from that kind of descendant. But anyway.
Don't cancel us. Okay. So I love her flowers that sometimes I love some of them. Sometimes I don't like they're not my deal.
Yeah.
But they're inspiring because it's different. It's new. Like, okay, what the hell am I going to do with this now? Like, so I like the challenge of trying it because the shapes are not all the same. So I do enjoy that. Like, they're not the typical, some like the tops are a little bit different. So I'm like, how the hell am I beading this? Because it's not my norm. You have to do a different thing or you have to add something, whatever. So lately I've been doing that, enjoying some of that. I recently just started redrawing a few flowers, and changing just the layout of it a little bit. And just that sometimes sparks like, oh, okay, I could do this or whatever. I find the flowers, yes, are always like great, grand, wonderful. What I get stuck on sometimes, what I think that's where this question was going into it too, is when I'm doing my greenery, when I'm doing the leaves or the vines or the fillers, that I always end up doing, I feel like I'm doing the same damn thing.
You know what is so crazy is we all do the same leaves.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about that too. And I said, oh, I got an idea. It's on something I did already, but I'm like, you know what? Why don't I keep doing that? Why don't I just did it for one thing? So
do it again. Yeah.
I'm going to do it again.
So yeah. So that's like,
I know I got to change my lead. Maybe. Yeah. Anyway.
And it's not even sometimes the way we're doing it. It's the layout of it all. Like the person who was asking said that a lot of the time she does her things a certain way.
So, like it cascades out a certain way?
Yeah, it all comes out of the flower or it goes a certain direction or, and I think feeling like I've done this so many times, like I don't want to do this anymore, but you just kind of tend to go back to that thing. So I do that all the damn time. And I feel like I said, a lot of times I like shit really busy, but then I look at it and I'm like, I overdid it now, and I can't take it back or, so for me, it's the layout. Sometimes it's just like, where the hell do I have this branch coming out now? Do I come out of the flower again like I always do? Or do I come somewhere else? And I don't know,
well, I'm working on this pair of baby moccasins and it's a small pair and I did leaves and coming out of nothing, coming out of the side of the bias. Like I didn't even do a rope stitch. There is leaves all over the bias on the ribbon part where it would be. And so it's totally different than I would normally do because usually I do my rope stitch. Sometimes I don't often do bias or ribbon because I don't tend to like that really. But I was like, I'm going to do it. So I did one pair and now I'm starting this blue pair. And so like what you're saying, like it doesn't come out of the flower. Maybe it does, but it's just sprayed everywhere. And because that's really kind of how it is when you look at nature, it's all coming from someplace. But if you took a real close look, all you would see is branches and leaves and twiggles and whatever, twirls and all that kind of jazz. So you can do whatever.
Yeah.
Let's be more whimsical.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I don't know if people would think I'm structured. Maybe I'm structured. I don't know. Would people think I'm structured?
I don't know.
Are you structured?
Have to look at them. I don't know. I try to be more whimsical in that sense, but then I just feel like there's only so much whimsy you can goddamn do. It's the same thing over and over. So
it's a mess. Whimsical mess.
So, all right. So that was that. Next question. This one's not really loaded, but I guess. Okay. So the idea that size 11s are only for beginners.
That's false.
Yes. Okay. So me too. I was like, who the hell's saying that? Like,
I don't know who it's. I know a long time ago when we would give classes, or I would take classes before people got into size 15, because there weren't a lot of size 15 and because size 11 was readily available, people would say buy size 11 just because in the beginning, when people started teaching, and not started teaching, but in the last 20 years, the resurgence of more classes have started. And I think in the beginning, because people were brand new, teachers were brand new as well, maybe had just started teaching other people. And because time was limited, it would be easier to teach the techniques using larger beads. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that large beads are for new beginners. You can use any size you want. It's just a lot easier to see results quicker with size 11, and they're more forgiving, and they really don't cost as much as size 15.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
And somebody had said that, made that comment too. On the post too about right under this question that, when you take into consideration Tuscarora beadwork is mostly in size 11s.
Yeah, and that shit is beautiful.
Yes, and it
has nothing to do with the size. Yeah.
So and these are beaters from like forever. So no, to me that's not a thing. It should not be a thing.
One doesn't equate the other at all.
No, and that's what I had written back on the thing to say, like, I don't know. Like, to me, like, bead size does not determine like somebody's status of where they are at beading. Like, because everybody uses whatever they like,
and whatever they can get access to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I use 11 sometimes. Like, it's preference. It's your preference of what you're comfortable with, what you like, and whatever. So
don't dog on those who are using 11, and don't dog on those who are using anything else.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. So yeah,
I didn't know either.
It's not a thing. It should not be a thing. So that's my stance on that. Okay. Oh, this one was interesting. So what's the most expensive type of bead you can buy? So we'll answer that. There's a few questions to that go. So we'll do that one quick. So what's the most expensive bead you can buy? Gold beads.
That or platinum or one of those any kind of precious metal would be for sure. Or a couple of years ago, I don't know, I must have come from a show or something. I bought a strand of beads that was $800.
Oh my God, what the? Well, wait, okay, hang on. That's the questions here.
Okay.
All right. So answering that question, what's the most expensive
precious
type
metals
of bead?
or precious stone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or sometimes like even where they're almost like handcrafted, handmade type of thing. You're going to pay a lot more for them. Okay. What was the most you have ever spent on a tube or a hank of beads? Okay. So we know Leith dropped $800.
$800. I think it was $800 or $500. $300. They were $800, and I think I bought them for $300. Now,
a hank or a tube?
No, it was a strand of beads. I think you showed them. I showed you them. They're big, humongous, and there are fossils inside of them.
Yeah, but like, can you see the damn fossils?
Yes, you can see the stone. They're stone beads. I can't remember what it is exactly. It's some kind of fossil. I have it in the bag. I went to a store in Montreal, a bead store, and I bought a lot of expensive beads just because I was looking for something to up my game and I wanted to make a purse handle or whatever. But I saw this bead and it was a very large bead, like almost as big as, I want to say maybe a dime, if not bigger, maybe 5 cents. 5 cents. And I touched it, and it was like the kind of feeling you said you had about the beads, like it was. No. And I kept going back, and then I would look at other things, and I would kept coming back to this freaking strand of beads, and maybe I had just paid off my credit card. Maybe that's what it was, because I had money, and I was just like, you know what, I'm buying it, and I bought it. And then I bought another.
You used them?
No, they're at my shop. So hopefully I'm going to use them sometime. They're beautiful. I mean, I don't know if anyone would like them, but I really like them. And I'm one of those people who I buy stuff like that because I like it, not necessarily because I have intention for like a specific. Well, I'm going to be charging.
Yeah.
But there's no intention to what's going to be made with them. I just buy stuff and pick things that I like. I mean, when it comes to beads, but that's the most expensive thing. How about you? What's the most expensive one? 24 karat gold?
Yeah. Grant Jonathan. Thank you very much.
$20 or something like that?
No, they were $50. So I bought that. It was a hank. Was it a hank? No, it was a small tube I bought. It was like one of those mini tubes, 24 karat gold, plated beads, and they were $55 or $58. I just
Canadian.
Yeah. They would have been, I forget,
32 or $32.
So that was the most expensive just for the tube, like just for that. And like I said, it was a mini. It wasn't even a half. It was a mini.
It's a mini tube.
It was a mini, but they're gold. So I get it. So the next question now was, what is the most you've ever spent in total on a bead? Like on beads, like when you're shopping?
Okay, so I have a bead store and I spent over like $3,000. But my personal.
Personal, because yeah.
So that shopping trip, when I went to, you know what? I think when I went on that shopping trip to that store, maybe my whole purchase was $800. But maybe that one, I think that, at least $600. At least $600, I think, is my largest personal.
Yeah, I think I was up to about close to 4 on one of mine, where it was like just buying, random beads, like just random shit that I
like
didn't
regret
need.
stuff. Like
no,
okay.
I don't regret.
I don't regret ever buying beads.
Me neither. No, but it was just buying.
I regret
random
not buying
stuff.
the ones I want.
Yeah, no, just buying like just stocking up. Like when I shop, I buy doubles of everything.
Oh yes, that is a good idea. Most people don't know that. They should.
So I buy doubles. So that runs you pretty high sometimes. So that's that. So I have one more question. This one was actually 2 more, but they're funny and fast. So, all right. Okay. So what is our take on comical medallions? For example, like the ones that were on Res Dogs. So there was one where it was a mic in the shape of a pinot.
Okay.
And it's clear that that's the shape of what it looks like, but it's a mic.
Yeah.
And then the other one was a pickle. So
what's my take on it?
Would you? Wouldn't you? So I'm going to say, would you? We'll answer the questions. Would you wear one first?
Okay.
And then would you make one? And then, or would you not wear it, or would you wear it, kind of thing? So
God, I don't even know. I never even thought about that.
Well, my answer to it, I
guess it depends on where I was wearing it or what it was for.
Like if I don't
normally buy things like that.
Yeah.
In terms of that, like raunchy humor, I guess. Is it raunchy humor? I don't even know if it's raunchy humor, but I don't know, passive aggressive raunchy humor. Maybe that's what it is. It's not really
if it was like a big old pinot, and maybe it's a little bit more. This is like more subtle.
But do people even know what pinot means?
It's a penis. Your penis. No.
So if it was, I guess, I don't know. It depends on where I was wearing it, I guess. But I wouldn't be wearing a penis on my necklace because that's just not what I would be wearing on my shirt.
I'm all for it. I'm not going to be rolling up to ceremony wearing something like that. Like, but if I was at a powwow or if you're at somewhere where it's like, you want to expose, like, I don't know. And I'm not saying that I'm rolling up anywhere wearing a pinot on my neck. Like, but
I would wear probably a pickle, maybe not a penis.
Yeah. So in comical sense, I do have some limits. Like I'm not
like, I think it's just like fashion. Like, I think it's something I think it would be different if you were wearing something that was a ceremonial item that you made into a comical thing. Like, I don't know, like if it had the integrity of being something that was, I don't even want to say ceremonial because anything could be ceremonial these days, but anything that, I don't know, I just don't think that.
I think there's a time and a place.
Time and a place for everything. And if that's what you want to make and you have a client that wants that and you're comfortable making it, yeah, sure, go ahead. I mean, those are kind of items that are
personalized, specific,
but not flash, not in your face. It's very, what's the word?
She's shaking her hands right now.
I'm like talking, like conversational pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like a statement.
A statement piece. Yeah. Yes. So if you're making that, and for somebody, and you can be sure that piece is going to get conversation. And if you are a upcoming artist or who want to get a name and you find the right client, that would be a good one. So anybody who wants to make those kind of things and gets them to the right people, you got yourself probably a niche because some people don't do that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, but I thought you were going to say like doing SpongeBob or something on a medallion because people do like that kind of stuff.
Like that kind of thing where it was like just odd. But yeah.
But people do those team medallions and nobody cares. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
People really, maybe, I don't know. I wonder if somebody put a vagina on there. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
You have.
I've seen there were beaded. What the hell was it though? It wasn't a medallion. I have seen them. Was it earrings? I have seen them beat it. I think it was a medallion.
Because if you're a team of whatever and you want to wear like, I proudly support this, then by all means, you know what I mean? So, like whatever.
No, there was, time and place and I don't know if I should call her. Oh,
maybe not. Just keep it quiet.
But there's an artist that's on Instagram who has made beaded vajayjays and in multiple different colors. And it was like
a series of like artist things.
It was. And I don't know if it was about awareness. I don't think so. I think it was just like, that's where she was at the time.
Yeah.
So she was making them in different,
because everyone is different, they say.
Yeah. So that's the way she was doing it. So yeah, like everyone's got their own thing. Yeah. Like, and I'm not against it, whatever, wear whatever the hell you want. Would I make it? Yeah. If like somebody,
I don't really like the color pink really though. So I don't know if I would.
There were brown ones. So there's all different, like you can choose a different color. So, but I am not against it. Like to each their own. Like if you know,
a beading challenge. That'd be a good one. Anyway.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not against it. Christ, beat whatever the hell you want. You want a big giant pinot? Go right ahead. Like I don't care if you're gonna wear it. You're comfortable with it. That's your thing. Like I don't care.
You should make little pins. That'd be cute. Okay. Anyway, the pins that'd be cute. Anyway, go ahead.
All right.
The last question. What's the question?
That was a funny one. So, all right, last one. This one came in last minute. It was materials to bead on, pros and cons. So the examples were like velveteen versus crushed velveteen, velvet versus crushed velvet, and commercial leather versus real leather.
It's so funny because the piece I took out was kind of like a crushed. It was like, it's not really crushed, but kind of looks crushed.
Wait, is the crushed like that one that looks like?
I think so. Maybe it's not. Maybe I don't have a crushed velvet one, but it's not a cotton. Like I use cotton and I don't even know what I use cotton. I use silk.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay,
cotton velvet or velveteen. I don't know. People say velveteen is cotton. Some people say velvet is cotton. I don't know. I
read the first one wrong too, though. So there is one velvet versus crushed velvet. The first one, the velveteen, though, was versus couch velveteen because there is.
Yes. I've used it before.
Yeah. The plushier. So the pros and cons, velveteen, I don't know. For me, I use whatever. I don't care, but there are challenges to them. So when we do there's some that are those. I like the plushier ones. I like the thick, like the whatever, but some of them are hard as hell to fold over.
They're thick.
They're thick.
That's like kind of what happens when you do couch material.
Yes. And then they also have like a finish on the back. If you see velveteen that has a shine on the back and it's almost feels slippery, they're harder to glue. So those ones sometimes end up needing you end up having to tack them down with your rope stitch.
Yeah.
Or they have to be adhered to like almost more of a paperback. Then you're using almost like a cardboard, or I just had that in one of my classes where we were using Pellin as our stabilizer. And that's what she had, like a thicker, plushier thing. When she went to fold it over, it didn't work on the Pellin. So what we ended up having to do was we put she did all of the work. And when she was done, she folded it over onto the paper. And it worked. Okay. It worked better. It adhered more to the paper than it did whatever. So sometimes it'll only adhere to like the like a different finish or whatever material in the back. So that's the difference with the velveteen and the couch velveteen, the plushier or whatever. I personally like both.
I think the more difficult comes in if you're ever sewing with either the velvet or velveteen, and one of them is slippery, and some people don't, like some seamstresses will say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to use that. It's better. It's easier if you're doing like small little things maybe, or if you have more experience. And I guess, so that's it. In terms of smoked hide and commercial hide, one is thinner than the other. One is worked in a different way that releases the fibers or breaks up the fibers to make it easier to use your needle with. Commercial hide sometimes is thicker and doesn't have that same property. You also get that really shiny with the commercial, like almost like
pleather. Well, and even that there's grades to the
they'll
process.
say it's a suede side versus the other side, like the leather side kind of thing for smoked. The one thing with smoked, and I think with commercial too, but more with smoked, is because depending on how your hide is in the smoker and hanging, it will not necessarily always be the same color all the way through. So you have to be okay with that too.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a smell with a smoked hide, but that's what you want.
Buying.
That's your buying. So so it's a more labor intensive process for the artist who's doing this tanning, the hand tanning. So there's that, but it's really like your preference, and I think it kind of goes into a question that I had also, and I'm going to bring it up now just because I think it's important, and they've asked it twice now, and I missed it the first time, is the importance of correctly sized moccasin pattern so that everything is balanced out between the vamp size, the ankle cuff, footing, or opening size. And I read that and I thought, yeah, but maybe that's somebody's style. Maybe that's what they choose. Maybe they like the look of a larger vamp, or maybe they like the look of an oversized cuff, or maybe they like however it is. And I think it's, in terms of that, it's it's really hard to say what is, I don't want to say right or wrong, but like what is better than the other, the preference. It's all about preference. And yes, people should do what they want.
Yeah.
That's really what I want to say.
In some ways though, so I have like devil's advocate
but you want your person to be able to put their foot in for sure. And you want it to look well. And sometimes it's too big. I don't know.
Yeah, no, because definitely we've all have, like if you've processed and gone through the process of changing your patterns, then you know the ins and outs of those kind of things. Yeah. So you know when you look at your moccasin and it flops out on the outer ends, then you know portions are not right. So you know, those kind of things, like you learn that as you go and as you practice and whatever.
And hopefully somebody will let you know, you know? Like,
and that's the point I was getting to, is that sometimes people don't know that either because they're still in that development stage.
And they might have learned from somebody else and that's how they did it and they liked how they did it. And then, they don't know how to change it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And that may be your style, that may be, so going into that a little bit more, what you were saying about like how it is personal style. For me, I had just wrote something not too long ago about it, about when you look at people's moccasins and it's still like what I'm saying right now, I'm telling you all right now, this is not the holy gospel. It is preference. It is your own choice, how you like things. For me personally, it has taken me a long time to learn how to do puckers the way I like them to look. Yep. So now I have changed the way I do my layout. I have changed my the vamp pattern, the sizing, all of that stuff. I have changed it because I have worked so damn hard, learning from all kinds of different people, practicing, tearing apart like patterns constantly, doing them up and then not liking it, tearing it apart. It's a lot of work. I have put all that effort and time into my damn puckers and I want to see them. So when I put my vamp on it, I don't want my vamp covering all that hard work.
Is that how your vamp used to look?
Yeah, no, yeah, a little bit. Not totally, but sometimes you do see some moccasins that the vamp covers the whole, you don't see it. So that's what I had posted about not too long ago, saying like, if
on Instagram, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I saw it. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I had said. Like, if you work so hard to get those puckers just right, because anyone who does a moccasin knows how hard it is to get puckers nice, the way you like them, or to have them even, or to have them visible or whatever, then why would you put something and like have it covered, like where you can't see it? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what I had, the point I was getting to. So unless that's your preference, maybe some people don't care. Like that's what you like. Like you like to see more of the beadwork. You're not focused on the puckers or whatever. So some of the vamps sit over and you don't see the toe. You can't even see the leather anymore. So the vamps cover everything. So that's what I've also seen. And for me, I like to see the puckers.
Yeah.
So
like, I probably wouldn't think that was aesthetically pleasing, just how you're saying it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter to me what the beadwork was. I think if it would not be something that I would gravitate to. So I wouldn't do that. But and which also means I probably wouldn't buy it. So that's one thing you got to think about too. Like, you know, if you're making things to sell as your audience.
And I think that's where it goes into proportion is that, because, but like you said, like what's right or wrong? Like really, there is no, it's by your own standard, basically. It's like, for me personally, my preference is to see the puckers to some extent.
And my standard isn't even the standard that I would make myself. Like the way I like the one moccasin I like, I didn't even make the pattern, and I will never make it for anybody but myself, because I feel like it's not mine. But that's the one I like the best. And I'm like, and I love it. And I'm glad that I have a pair that I like. And that's what, like, I invest my time in that. Like, I invested my time to make myself a pair of moccasins. And if that person sold and I wanted to buy them, I'd probably buy them from that person. But I don't have to now, because now I know how to make them. And that's kind of what happens. Like, you know, when you go to Power or somebody, you're like, I could do that. And I actually have, and I appreciate it. Now, would I go and sell a pair of moccasins based on that pattern? No, never, because that's not mine, I don't think. But I have my own style that I bead, and I make my moccasins in a certain way, a variety of ways, actually. And I don't mind that. But I prefer this for myself, but not necessarily for the world. So it just depends. It's all preference.
And that was it.
That was a to each his own.
Yeah.
podcast, a lot of wonderful things, and hopefully we will probably reflect maybe on the copyright thing. I'll just say the resounding answers to the question about copywriting was absolutely not. It doesn't belong to one person. It belongs to everybody.
Okay, that's, I remember what we were talking about.
Sharing where necessarily, and the idea of me and mine didn't come from us because we were more of a us, ours, and we kind of people. So that's what people said, and some people just said it was wrong. And and if we and this is what somebody said, and I'll leave it with that: if we don't share what we know, all our teachings will perish.
Okay, bye. No.
Yeah, we're for listening, everybody. Share what you got, and look out, everyone in Southwestern Ontario. I will be having a small group teaching at the University of Western Ontario, beadwork. I will be asking people to submit applications for 4 spots for a beadwork project that I'm doing that will be happening maybe at the end of the fall, maybe at the beginning of winter. So everyone in Southwestern Ontario, near the University of Western Ontario, look out for that. I'll probably be doing social media, maybe advertising in the school, but I will not be handpicking and running through every community to ask people if they want to join. So if you want, you just stay tuned to the Instagram of Leith and Tekaronhiakhwa for that opportunity.
Okay.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
The views and opinions of the guests expressed in this podcast do not reflect those of Iorì and its employees.